The Lexus NX450h Plus F Sport is a well-specified and plush medium SUV that also has a plug-in hybrid powertrain. So it ticks the boxes when it comes to size and efficiency. And in this review, we're going to see if this green cutie has what it takes to be your new best friend in the city. So stay watching. Despite a price hike of over $6,000, our flagship NX grade is still slightly more affordable than its plug-in hybrid top-grade rivals, the Volvo XC60 Ultra and the BMW X330e xDrive, which both sit at over $100K before on-roads. The BMW does have a few more features than this model has, but it still holds its own. In the flagship variant, you get heated and ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, and a sunroof. The technology has also been upgraded to include a 14-inch multimedia display and digital rearview mirror, which certainly helps it compete against its flashier European rivals. But if you want the full specs, they are in my full written review at carsguide.com.au. The NX looks like a scaled down version of its larger RX cousin. So if you like that, you're gonna like this. And to me, this looks sweeter with its smaller proportions, but there's enough sharp pleating in the paneling and the rear LED lights to give it a sporty edge. And it's a design that should appeal to a wide range of people. The updated interior looks gorgeous with the dual tan and black leather upholstery and fabrics. The dashboard really works with all of the bits and how the design flows, but the display is definitely the highlight because it's massive and curved towards the driver. This gives this space quite an intimate and plush feel. The front row is spacious, and because of the higher ride, it's an easy SUV to get in and out of. The seats aren't sports seat hard despite having high side bolsters. They really tuck you into place, but offer lots of padding, so this is quite a comfortable road tripper. The storage up front is good for the class, with the glove box and middle console shouldering most of the storage burden. But I do like that you still get some individual options like a sunglasses holder and a dedicated phone cradle. The 14-inch display looks great with clear graphics and a very responsive touchscreen. The system itself is really simple to operate, which is awesome. You get built-in sat-nav, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the CarPlay is easy to set up. It also maintained a steady connection this week. Charging options are good. Each row gets 2 USB ports, and up front you also get a 12-volt socket and a wireless charging pad. In this back seat, there's plenty of room for 2 adults to sit comfortably even on a longer trip. The seats are really comfortable, almost as comfortable as the front actually. And you get some decent storage and amenities back here, like 2 mat pockets, directional air vents, those 2 USB-C ports, and a 12-volt socket. But it is disappointing that you miss out on some of those bougie extras you might have expected at a flagship grade, like climate control and heated outboard seats. But my son certainly didn't complain. Despite its powertrain, the boot space is not compromised, and you still get the same amount of capacity as its siblings, which is 520 litres. The level loading space makes it an easy car to slide large gear in and out, and I really like that you get a handy underfloor storage compartment for any of the cables because you miss out on front storage in this. But you get a power tailgate, which is always handy to have. This NX model is the first attempt at a plug-in hybrid powertrain. It's an all-wheel drive and has a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine with 2 electric motors, one located at each end of the car. Together they produce up to 227 kilowatts of power, but Lexus doesn't quote the combined torque figure. The 450h Plus has a 0 to 100 km/h sprint of just 6.3 seconds and has a smooth, continuously variable transmission. What all that means is that this is fairly quick on the road, and the shift between the engine and electric components is barely noticeable. The flagship NX has a relatively small 18.1 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery and a Type 2 charging port, but it does lack a CCS enhancement, and that means that you can't hook this up to a fast DC charger. On a standard 240-volt AC charging port, you should be able to go from 0 to 100% in just 7.5 hours, and you get a pretty decent electric driving range in this of up to 87 kilometers, which means that when you're just doing short city urban trips, you only really have to plug it in every other day, which I appreciated. The official combined fuel cycle usage figure of this car is 1.3 litres per 100 kilometers. You're not really going to see that in the real world though. And after doing some longer open road trips and some city slicking mixed in, I've averaged 6.5 litres per 100 kilometres, and my energy consumption has sat around 20.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. Now, that's not the best hybrid figures I've ever seen for the class, but they're not too bad either. I really like this variant of the NX. It feels like you've got quite a lot of power in reserve, even when you put your foot down. Never feel sluggish when you're going up hills or overtaking, which is great. This is also really quiet in EV mode, but there's no big fanfare when it switches over to the engine, well, normally. Sometimes when you're going at higher speeds, you do get that growly engine noise of its non-hybrid siblings, but I actually quite like that. The steering is forgiving and pretty light, which makes this feel nimble around town. Suspension is on the firmer side, so you will hear and feel some of the bigger bumps, but it never translates to it being a rough ride. It's still pretty refined. Visibility is good in this, with largish windows and pillars that don't get in the way from my driving position. I like having the digital rear view mirror though, because when you have a couple of tall adults in the back or a car seat installed, your rear view vision can be hampered sometimes, so it's nice having that feature. It's pretty hard nowadays to find a modern car that's difficult to park, and the NX is no exception. Its small body size means that it's really easy to find a car space that will fit it. You've got lots of clearance around you from neighboring cars as well, but you get a really clear and crisp 360-degree view camera system in this, which is great. And I also like that you can see underneath the car with that camera system too. The NX comes with a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing done in 2022 and scored very highly across its individual assessment scores. It also features 8 airbags, including a front center airbag, and has a bunch of safety equipment included as standard, including safe exit assist and emergency e-call. Most of the safety equipment isn't intrusive for daily driving, which is great, but the adaptive cruise control does need some work because it has a feature that scans for bends in the road and will slow you down in anticipation of them. Sometimes this works in practice. Most of the time though, it's very sporadic when it activates. And when it does activate, it will slow you down dramatically on a bend that you wouldn't even call a bend. But the full safety specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. The NX comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is on par with its European rivals. You get a 5-year cap price servicing program, and services are competitively priced at $595 each. Servicing intervals are also very reasonable at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Lexus NX450h Plus F Sport is a gorgeous mid-size SUV that has great specs and a fairly efficient plug-in hybrid powertrain. It's a really comfortable and easy ride that's going to appeal to a lot of different driving styles, and it just looks good at the curbside, and that's why it gets the score that's on your screen now. But if you're after the full written review, head over to carsguide.com.au and I'll see you next week.